you'd fire an employee who performed the way you train. I want you to picture someone on your team doing this. 3 solid days the first week, nothing the second, goes quiet for a month, and then they come back with a whole speech about how they're locked in now, how this time is going to be different. They've got a new system, but you wouldn't be moved by that speech because you would have made your decision a long time ago. And that's exactly what your training history is. And somehow you've never applied the standard to yourself that you apply to everyone that works for you. And here's what's actually going on. And it's not exactly what you think. It's not that you're lazy. Lazy people don't run teams, they don't build businesses, they don't hit deadlines, and they don't show up for people who depend on them. And you do all of that. And you've done it consistently for years without needing anyone to hype you up about it. The difference is at work, you're not just doing a job, you are the job. It's just part of who you are. And things that are a part of who you are don't get renegotiated every morning. Fitness never made that jump for you. It's still just a project. It's still something that you're just doing on the side. And side projects will always get dropped as soon as the second real life gets loud. So this video isn't about the best program. It's not about discipline. It's not about motivation. It's not about finding time. Because these things are all downstream of something else. This is about the thing sitting underneath all of it. It's who you've decided that you are. Because you can't out-train an identity. You will drift back to it every single time. You've used the word trying about your body for 6 years now, but you've never once used it about your career. You don't tell people that you're trying to be a good parent. You don't tell your boss you're trying to be a project manager. You don't say that you're trying to be dependable. You just are those things, and you back it up consistently. But the gym, I'm trying to get back into it. I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to get in shape. Trying always has an exit built into it. And that's why it's the only word that you use there. It gives you a way out before you've even actually started. And it protects you from having to fail at something. Because nobody fails at just trying. Listen to yourself this week. The language isn't a small thing. It's really a status report on how you see yourself. You describe the parts of your life that you've committed to in plain terms. You describe the parts that you haven't as just attempts. Change the sentence and feel how uncomfortable this is. I train 4 days a week. No qualifier. And if that sentence makes you want to add something to the end of it, that's the whole problem showing up in one moment. And here's why that matters more than any program I could ever write you. When fitness is just something you're doing, every day is a negotiation. You wake up, you check how you feel, you check your schedule, you check your motivation, and then you make a decision. And that's a decision that you're making roughly 300 times a year. And you're going to lose a lot of those. And it's not because you're weak, it's because nobody wins 300 negotiations when they're tired. The thing is, when it's a part of who you are, there is no negotiation. There's a Tuesday. And on Tuesday, you decided you were going to train. So guess what? That means Tuesday, you show up and you go to work. Just like with your job. You don't wake up and audit your feelings about your job first. At one point in my life, I was a certified personal trainer who hadn't touched the gym in a year, or maybe gone 5 times at the most in that entire year. Had all my certifications. I could explain periodization, progressive overload, macros, energy systems, all of it. But my environment around me wasn't very good. I wasn't actually owning who I wanted to be. I was in a relationship that was going nowhere. I had no structure in my life. And I actually, ironically, had zero confidence in building a program for myself or anybody else. I had all of this information, and not one piece of it was doing anything for me. So I did the thing that felt really uncomfortable at the time. I actually went and hired a personal trainer. And it wasn't the programming that fixed it. It definitely helped, and I learned stuff from it, but it was really just having to show up. It was the accountability. I had to show up on someone else's schedule, and I was paying all this money. So whether I felt like it or not, I was going to show up. And week after week and month after month, it stopped being something that I was doing, and it became the thing that I was, or the thing that I am. I had to rebuild myself and my identity first. And then everything else came after that. The business, the clients, the physique, all of it came from that. And Nick Saban has a line that I love that I think really represents this well. Don't think about winning the championship. Think about what you have to do in this drill, on this play, in this moment. That's the process. So he isn't talking about goals, and you should have goals. But the point is, he's talking about who you truly are in the moment and who you are when nobody's watching. Champions aren't people who just want something. They are people who do the things. Every drill, every play, and the trophy is what just shows up afterwards. Think about your actual job for a second. You don't wake up on Monday and ask yourself whether you feel like being an account manager today. You don't check your energy levels to decide if you're going to be a nurse this week. You don't audit your motivation before you become an operations lead. You just go because guess what? You took the job. You made that commitment. That decision got made one time, and now it's a fact about your life. Nobody negotiates with an identity that they've truly accepted. You only negotiate with things that you're trying. And that's the entire difference between the part of your life that works and the part of your life that doesn't. You don't need to know more. You need to just become someone different. You've watched the videos. You know what progressive overload is. You know you should be eating more protein. You know sleep matters way more than the supplements. If I quizzed you right now on all of this, you'd probably do pretty well. But the funny thing is, your body doesn't reflect any of it. Because your body isn't a record of what you know. It's a record of who you've been and what you consistently do. That might be uncomfortable to sit with, but it's the most useful thing in this video. Because if knowledge were the problem, you would have solved this years ago. There's so much information out there. There's AI. There's YouTube videos. There's programs you can buy. There's books you can read. You've had the information the entire time. So stop consuming so much and start making decisions. And I'm not talking about deciding on a program. Decide on a person, an identity. What does someone who actually trains do on a Wednesday when work's running long? What do they eat at the airport? What do they do the week after they've missed 3 days in a row? Answer those questions once and then become that person. Execute those answers. And that's the identity doing the work for you. And this always makes me think of a client I have. He's got every reason to skip. And he just hit 3 PRs. He comes in, end of a full workday, might be 8 or 9 p.m., tired, hungry, he's got kids at home. He has literally every reason to bail out of that session, and it's all justified. Nobody in the world would question it, including myself. And there are some weeks that they do miss, myself included. That's real, and that's just life. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. But lately, he's had the best stretch that I've seen in a while. And he's smashing it, hitting big numbers. And the biggest takeaway from us all, nothing changed about the program. I didn't hand over some new split. I moved him through phases as I normally would. What really changed was that showing up stopped becoming a decision. It's just what happens now. We get our sessions in. End of story. Those PRs he hit did not come from a better plan. They just came from a person who quit renegotiating with themselves. And that's the order that this happens in. You become the person, the habits, the consistency, and then the results show up behind you. It's not the other way around. Stop trying to get in shape. Start being someone who trains. Getting in shape is just a goal. It has a finish line. And the second you cross it, or the second you decide that you never will, the behavior stops. And that's why you've started over 5 times now. Being someone who trains has no finish line, which sounds worse, but it's actually the entire point. There's nothing to fall off of. Here's how you make that switch. And it's a lot smaller than you think. Pick the days. I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4. I don't care if you want to go all out 6 or 7 days a week. Put them in your calendar like days you don't move. And then hold them and stick to it for 12 weeks without letting yourself evaluate whether it's working or not. No progress checks, no mirror audits, no conversations about the scale. We're not measuring results yet. You're just establishing who you are. And 12 weeks of not negotiating is enough to change how you see yourself. And once that changes, everything else gets easier in a way you've never experienced. Because you stop spending so much energy on the decision. As I said earlier, you would fire an employee who performed the way you train. So stop treating your body like a side project that eventually you'll get to. You already know how to be consistent. You've proven it for years in every other area of your life. You've just never given this the same status. So decide once, and then go be that person on the Tuesday when you don't feel like it, and again on the Tuesday after that. You don't need more information. You need to become someone different. And if you want someone who will hold you accountable while that identity gets built and give you the framework for it, that's exactly what I do.